that. Just in response to question on notice 157, the department provided the number of staff who have work from home arrangements. In response to one part of the question, listing the number of employees by the number of days that they work from home, you stated that it was too difficult to calculate, which I find extraordinary. However, you then provided the number of staff when asked for the number who work 3 or more days a week. Now, why was that?
So, Senator, I will be the first one to admit that the department's HR systems require enhancement to be able to pick up that type of data. To be able to do an accurate calculation, we would actually need to sit down and manually calculate. So that's why we indicated that there are challenges. Right. However, we have been able to determine that there are a number of staff who are taking 1 day a week in terms of their arrangements, and there are a number of staff that are taking 2 days a week in terms of their arrangements.
Okay. And have you been able to provide that on? Can you provide that on notice?
Senator, I'm more than happy to both have a look at what we've done and also have a look at updating the table. Yes,
that would be very helpful. Thank you. So, of the staff who work 3 or more days a week, half of them are at the PL1 level. That's executive. That's correct.
Yes, that's right.
Yep.
Okay. Do you think it's appropriate for more senior staff to spend most of their time outside of the office?
Senator, my reflection on that is that there are a range of considerations that go into whether or not an officer is or isn't allowed to be able to undertake flexible work. Flexible work is an entitlement that across the public service and the parliamentary services is in place. We require our senior staff to be able to do an assessment as to whether or not it is actually feasible and practical for these officers to work from home and for how long they work from home. In a personal reflection, Senator, I think that on occasion I work from home and I'm actually much more productive than I am in the office.
Occasion, I think that is absolutely entirely fair. I suppose it's more if you're responsible for managing teams, if you have those sort of higher responsibilities. I think there's probably an expectation that you would spend most of the time doing that with your team around you in the office.
Senator, there's lots of very talented folk, and I will say that DPS officers are amongst the most talented that I think I've worked in for 20-odd years, that manage their staff really, really well, regardless of whether or not they have a footprint in the office or whether or not they're undertaking part of their duties from home.
Okay. I don't doubt their talent. I do doubt their presence, and I think that the taxpayer has an expectation on those to whom their salaries, who pay their salaries, as to exactly what it is that they are doing and where they're doing it.
But
Senator, I will allow you to take that one on notice. That's fine. Thank you. In response to question on notice 163, the department stated that you are unable to provide a list of vacancies by level due to the data management. Is that right?
Senator, as I said, I'll be the first person to admit that the HR systems within the department require enhancement. That is something that we're looking at. At the moment, in terms of having the systems, there is a lot of historical data that is still captured in that system. And so if I have a look at, in terms of encapsulating all of that historical data, it returns positions that are vacant, where perhaps there is no intention for those positions to be filled or they've been overtaken by events and time.
Okay. Do you use the same data management system as the Department of the Senate?
Senator, to be honest with you, I'm not certain.
Okay. Could I perhaps encourage you to speak with your colleagues in the Department of the Senate to obtain that data, because they have been able to provide me with a full list by program, by section, by position title, by classification. They've done the lot. And it seems extraordinary that one department should be able to do it so easily and one department with such difficulty. Is it normal for the department to have over 10% of your workforce under acting arrangements for more than 90 days?
Senator, I think it's fair to say that there have been a number of long-standing acting positions, both in terms of the SES cohort and the parliamentary services levels. As I indicated earlier today, it has been a key priority of the acting secretary to get those sorted. And I think from the data that we provided you earlier on today, our onboarding at the moment is actually over what our offboarding is, getting the department back to a stable state.
Okay. In response to a question on notice 175, I note